Thank you. Did you say somebody's here? All right, it's 6 o'clock, and it's time to call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Redevelopment Commission. So if we could get started with the roll call, Executive Director.
Yes, ma'am. Sharon Bryant.
Here.
Jimmy Dillahunt.
Here.
Sarah Proctor.
Here.
Leander Morgan. Here. Steve Strickland. For the record, he's here. Julius Parham.
Here.
Kip Paraguay.
Here.
There he is.
Tavari Wallace. Beth Walker.
Here.
Rick Prill. Barbara Best. Hazel Royal. Madam, you have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The first item on our agenda is to consider approving the agenda. And you have all received your packets. Hope you've had time to look through the agenda, the meeting minutes that are next to approve. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, and tonight's agenda, which is a pretty full one, is approved. Next item on the agenda is to consider approving the meeting minutes, and we have meeting minutes from 3 previous meetings, April of 2025, and then 2 meeting minutes, May 15th and May 28th of 2025. Now, is May 15th the night we did not have a quorum?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need to approve those meeting minutes? Just for the record?
I will kick that to the city attorney, but I believe so.
I see you nodding yes. Okay. So has everyone had a chance to read through the minutes, find anything you might think needs to be changed? If not, I'd like a motion to approve all 3 sets of those meeting minutes.
Make the motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Have a motion? Second. And a second? And is it okay, Attorney, if we approve all 3 together?
You can do all 3 together so long as the vote is unanimous.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve all 3 sets of meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And all opposed? Sounds like the motion carried unanimously. Thank you very much for that. And now, if everyone will turn to their mission and guiding principles for the Redevelopment Commission. You know that we have been in service for the city for over 7 years now, and we read these every time. I know that sometimes we feel like it's just a rote exercise, but I would like everybody to, as we read them tonight, think about these things, that we are here to accomplish the work we're doing by following this mission statement and our guiding principles. So I'll read the mission statement, and then I'll have everybody read the guiding principles. The New Bern Redevelopment Commission is leading the way for community transformation and improvement by directly addressing community needs in the vital areas of public health, infrastructure, housing, and economic development. The Commission is committed to an accountable, transparent, and publicly driven process. And I'm going to start with you, Commissioner Paraguay, for the first one.
Past, present, future, equal time.
Respect others' opinion.
Listen to build consensus.
Share accurate information, public perception.
Stay focused, be action-oriented.
And the last one for you, Commissioner
Believe.
Morgan. Believe. So I know that we say these all the time, and I know they're not empty words, but I would just like to remind everybody that even though we all have different opinions and come from different places, everybody's opinion is valuable here on the Commission. So I thank you for that. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Do we have public comment that wishes to speak tonight?
Gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay. And as no one is coming to approach the mic, I'm going to assume that there's no public comment. Our new business tonight is we have an exciting presentation by Deanna Tribble with the New Bern MPO, and she is going to take some time tonight to tell us about the Micro-Transit project. And this is just an opportunity for us as a commission to better understand the work the MPO is doing and how we as the Redevelopment Commission can partner with it. So I hope everybody will give your attention to Ms. Treble.
Well, good evening, everybody. I am Deanna Treble, and I'm with the New Bern Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. And many of you probably have never heard of us. But as an MPO, we do regional transportation for the larger community. So we're looking at not just New Bern, but Bridgeton, Trentwoods, Riverbend, and parts of Craven County. And so when we look at transportation options, we're looking for all modes of transportation. Most people seem to focus just on vehicles, but we also work with our transit agency, with rail, aviation, bicycle and pedestrians, etc. And so we've been in business or incorporated since the 2010 census. And so we're just quietly working in the background to just promote efficiencies of all modes of transportation. But tonight, I'm here to talk to you about a new exciting thing that, do you have to do it, Tim?
Yep.
So tonight, I'm going to be talking to you with a partnership. We are helping CARTS. I think most of you know that CARTS is our regional transportation system. It is public transportation, and so if you want to go far, go local, go CARTS. CARTS actually serves 3 counties. It serves Craven, Jones, and Pamlico. And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about their existing service, because what we found is that a lot of people don't realize that we have public transit. Then also talk about an exciting new opportunity called Microtransit that we're hoping will be very beneficial as an alternative mode of transportation to the fixed route. So for those of you who don't know, CARTS actually began in operations in 1980, and it's a small operation where we've got 31 drivers, 29 buses. But the important thing to notice is look at all those ridership. And when we say demand riders are those that are traveling outside of the urban area or outside of New Bern. But just in New Bern, primarily within the fixed route in your commercial quarters, we have 15,000 riders as of last year, or fiscal year 24. And what we've seen is those numbers continue to rise, which means people need transportation, and CARTS is a viable option for them to ride. So a lot of people see the bus maybe traveling around town, but maybe they don't realize that it's CARTS. So CARTS is, they're clean, they're new, you have drivers that are educated, they have driver safety, drug and alcohol testing, and the vehicles themselves have a maintenance record that has to be maintained to FTA standards. So I always like to say when you look at CARTS, CARTS is one name but 2 options. And so we have the demand response, which is something that serves over the 3 counties. And that does require you to go back one. Thanks. You were too fast. So we have the demand response, which goes over the 3 counties. And then we have the urban service, which focuses on your 3 fixed routes. Those 3 fixed routes are primarily in your downtown and going to Walmart, etc. So those are thinking like your points of interest. So the demand response, it offers curb-to-curb service. So you can either work with one of your Health and Human Services organizations, or you can call them. They do require a 48-hour advance notification to book that ride. It's a guaranteed ride. They'll pick you up anywhere between 5 a.m. and 6 p.m. They'll work with you to coordinate a time. You normally get picked up within a 30-minute wait time. So if you wanted to be picked up at 8, you'll be picked up anywhere between 7:45 and 8:15. But they work with you to make sure they can get you to your appointments and on time. Now this fare does vary from $3.25 plus mileage. So the farther you go, the more it's going to cost you. But again, if you're working with the CARTS, they'll make sure that they get you to where you need to go as efficiently and as cost effective as possible. So on the other side, the urban service, which is currently our 3 fixed routes. These fixed routes operate on a designated time point. They have designated stops. The downfall is that it normally takes over an hour to ride the loop, to go from, if you want to start at one location and you want to ride it all the way from start to the end, it takes about an hour. And as you can imagine, that's probably not the most efficient thing if you're trying to get from point A to point B. So the good news is that this fare only does cost you $1, so if you're willing to wait a little bit, it will get you from point A to point B. It still has some limited time. They normally operate, I always like to say 6 to 6, but about 6:45 to 6:15 Monday through Friday. So one of the challenges that we've heard in talking about carts is that there's some challenges with that. Is, like I said, you have a long headway time where you're waiting for the bus. You could be waiting for a bus to come back to pick you up 20, 30 minutes. It's limited to its existing route. So we've heard that the stops are not always conducive to where people want to go. We also there's a need to serve a greater service area. People want to travel outside of that fixed route system. But right now, we don't have a system that allows that. So there's some wishes for some flexibility to meet those needs of those riders. So that's where Microtransit comes in. So Microtransit, we did a feasibility study with the MPO, and we looked at how do we accomplish those items that we were challenged with. How do we improve efficiency in the rider experience while also expanding access to jobs, healthcare, shopping, and community destinations? We want to build a resilient transportation network that would allow for greater mobility for the greater New Bern area. So with that, Microtransit is the convenient, on-demand, shared transit option. So it operates similar to Lyft and Uber, but on a shared ride platform. So I think most of us are familiar with how those Lyft and Uber operate, where you download an app, you get on the app, and you said, I'm at this location, and I would like to go to this destination, and I would like to be picked up around this time. And the app tells you when someone's going to be there to pick you up. It's the same concept, but on a shared ride platform using one of the cart's buses. And so this allows us to expand greater than that fixed route system. And we're looking at the map that you've seen before you. It's about a 21-mile square mile zone, and this would be based on demand. So if someone would like to go somewhere, the computer would optimize the efficiencies of those trips. So that results in shorter wait times. Now the downfall is it is on a first come first served basis. So while on the demand we were able to get you a ride with pick up within 30 minutes, the goal is to get you picked up within 30 minutes, but that might not happen under Microtransit. But we are meeting that greater flexibility and demand. So we kind of talked about this a little bit, that you would book the ride through the app. It'll pick you up near your location. You might have to walk a little bit to get to your final destination. And we're still kind of working out the details on exactly what this is going to look like. We're just doing an evaluation right now. Here's a short video of kind of explaining the concept a little bit more.
What is Microtransit? Microtransit is driven by technology, so the days when you walk into a bus stop, wait in the morning, and transfer to another route to get you to your destination are over. When you're ready to ride Microtransit, you'll be able to use your smartphone to request a ride. Or if you're more comfortable calling the office, you can do that too. After you book your ride, simply go where you're directed to, such as an existing bus stop or to what we'll call virtual stops. When the bus arrives, other riders may be picked up too. Don't worry, we'll get you to where you need to go when we promise we would. If you're traveling across town or to a major location, you'll be alerted to transfer to a cross-town route. The Microtransit bus will get you to your transfer in enough time. When you're ready to go back, request a ride the same way you did on the way out to get you home. Using this technology will help you reach your destination faster. Are you ready to try Microtransit today?
So what we're doing right now is we need help. We need help in getting the word out about this possible new transit option. So we have reached out to community partners such as you and asking for time just to share the message and asking for your help in sharing that message for us. We have flyer and social media, but we are looking for all opportunities because we really want to hear some feedback from not only the current riders, but potentially some new riders. So there's some questions of unknowns. We're not quite sure exactly what the hours of operations are going to be. We're still trying to figure that out. But at a minimum, it would be similar to what the existing fixed route is. But we are looking at one of the options of having later service and possibly Saturday service. We don't know how much it's going to cost yet. Again, we're still evaluating the overall cost efficiencies of the system. But any opportunities that you have for us to either engage with your community stakeholders, your employers, employees, we would value that and would really like the opportunity to continue sharing that message. So this is where you come in to help us out. We want you to share your voice. We have a QR code and some hands out for you to actually take the survey, join meetings. Let us know what your transportation needs. It might not be your needs, but it might be a neighbor or a family member. Help us spread the word. This is only going to be successful if we continue getting the word out of what it could be. And we're hoping that to gather all of our information and to present it to the county commissioners during their October work session. If you haven't tried the service, I would encourage you to actually just take a ride. I think you have a better understanding of the challenges that the current fixed route system has. And then you can also stay informed on the process of where we are with this evaluation by following the Craven County social media channels. So we are currently in the public outreach area now, and we're going through the end of August. In October, we're going to brief the Board of Commissioners. And then if the county commissioners are in agreement with what we presented, then there's a possible launch date as soon as the first part of next year. So this is something that we've spent the last 3 months on, and we're the next 3 months looking forward and continuing to do our due diligence. And so here's just a phone number and an email address if you are interested in sharing your information, and we've got some flyers that we can pass out after the meeting. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you for presenting this, because this is, we have a lot of, we work in the neighborhoods that could use this transportation mode, and we have a lot of access to meetings and public engagement. So yes, go ahead.
The question is something similar to this already in works in other cities?
Yes, great question. So microtransit is not a new idea, although it's a new idea for New Bern. Actually, the city of Wilson was the first one to do a pilot study, I think it was about 5 years ago, and they've had huge success. And from that, you've got the city of Wilmington, and there's a handful of others. We heard today there was actually a new system that just launched another microtransit option. Okay. So, the beauty of this is, while we're only showing you that initial 21 square mile area or zone, that has the potential for us to expand it into larger areas depending on the need.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Would this replace the fixed route system or be in addition to it?
This would replace it. So the fixed route system, what we've heard is that there's empty buses that drive around in a circle, and they're not always empty. But rather than driving in a circle, why don't we get off that circle and go where the people need it and get to where they need to go, and hopefully have somewhat the same operating cost.
Thank you.
All right, thank you again for the opportunity.
Any other questions, Commissioners? Yeah? No? Okay. Thank you for that presentation. All right, the next item under new business is to consider a resolution to accept a bid to purchase 1037 Main Street. And this one, as you remember, we had a resolution to initiate the upset bid, and the bidding period has been closed without a competing bid. And this was Mr. Chester Freeman who did a presentation for us. So he is still the highest bidder, correct?
That's correct.
So I think we were all in agreement that to put that property up and start the bid process. Now the bid process is complete. So we want to have a resolution to accept Mr. Freeman's bid.
Madam Chair, if I may, just to kind of share with my commissioners and give them a little bit of history about this particular parcel. This is on Main Street, which used to be the actual entry into what used to be a commercial hub for the community back in the 60s and the 70s. And there used to be a fish market that was on this corner. And across the street was a store and a meat market that was owned by Governor Rhodes. And there's a property across the street that has just been purchased, and they're rehabbing that particular property. So there's some good activity going on in that area. I used to live less than a block and a half from the property. I know for a fact that the city was not maintaining it and keeping it up, and it was often that I would see Mr. Freeman out cutting that particular parcel, even though it didn't belong to him. It was adjacent to his current property, and he's what we call a friend of the community. We could always count on him, and he always kept his residence clean, neat, and manicured. So I just kind of wanted to share with my commissioners and just give them a little bit of brief history about this particular parcel.
Okay, thank you for that. And I think we were all impressed when we first heard of his plans to purchase it, that he had been maintaining it for quite a while.
Yes.
Can I get a resolution, a motion to accept, to have a resolution to accept this bid?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the bid.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. And thank you for giving us the information you gave us. Is there any other discussion commissioners would like to have? Head shaking no. Okay. Can we have do we need a roll call vote or just
Do a voice vote, Madam Chair.
voice vote? Okay, thank you. All in favor to accept, have the resolution to accept the bid to purchase 1037 Main Street, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the motion carries, and we will have a resolution for that to be purchased by Mr. Freeman. Thank you, commissioners. In old business, we are considering a resolution to initiate the upset bid process for 821 West Street. And if you remember, this property came before us. Getting lost in my own things here. And we asked to see some plans that what the person who was requesting the upset bid process would like to have there. And I believe those are in our packet tonight. I'm sorry, I am struggling to get through this. I should have never put it in the corner. But in your packet, I believe you have seen that it's the plan for conceptual floor plan for a 1,600 square foot home. It had a lot of details about the 3 bedrooms, and then there was even a lovely rendering of what was anticipated for the residents to look like. Has everyone had a chance to look at that? Any comments?
What are the specs, the specifications of size of that particular lot?
I'm not sure if you want the...
I'm just curious about the square footage on the lot. I was on the lot this morning, and it's quite overgrown and hadn't been maintained or kept up, but I was just curious. It didn't look to be a very large lot when you're talking about that size dwelling to be put on that particular property.
Madam Chair, according to the GIS map, it's roughly 1/10 of an acre, and the dimensions roughly are 50 by 102.
Oh, okay. So the floor plan, if it's 50 by 102, and the floor plan that we have is 40 feet by 40 feet, it seems like it would fit in there within our setback requirements, and actually has have a nice look of a single-family residence there. If you say the lot is overgrown, it seems like a definite improvement. to
Well,
me.
there is sidewalk and there is curb and guttering on that particular section of West Street.
And Madam Chair, those dimensions are approximate. Obviously, the GIS map is not a survey, so that's approximately the dimensions that we have.
And I want all the commissioners to understand it. It's a rendering and a plan, and that's what we asked for is how would this property be used? And the person who wanted to initiate the upset bid process had not presented that, and now I feel like we have a good understanding that it would be a single-family residence. And the person who's asking us to initiate the upset bid, I believe, is considered owner-occupying, living there.
That's one of the restrictions on the property, according to the resolution.
That we have that in the resolution, that it'd be owner-occupied.
That's correct.
Actually, there's a whole series of covenants applied to that piece of property in the bid process.
Oh, do you see that? And that's Exhibit A as part of the resolution. There are quite a few.
I make a motion that we initiate the upset bid process for 821 West Street.
So we have a motion and a second to consider, to make a resolution to initiate the upset bid process. Can I do I need to
You
vote?
can call for additional questions or discussion.
Any additional questions or discussion from commissioners?
Now, this is the final upset bid, am I correct?
It initiates the upset bid process.
Okay.
So it's not the final bid, but it starts that process.
And what was his price again? What was his bid again?
It is
$6,375.
$6,000?
$375.
which is our standard
75.
formula of 75% of the tax value.
Madam Chair, I do have a question, and it's a general question. When we have a contract to convey land to an individual that is purchasing, if and when the time of death comes, does the covenant, can it be moved forward in terms of passed on to the next of kin or whoever's going to be taking over that particular property? Can we...
Does the covenant stay with the property?
Pretty much. Does the covenant follow the property or follow the...
I see our attorneys have nodding
Yes,
yes.
the covenants run with the land. So the covenants that would ultimately be attached to this property would continue regardless of ownership. I think one covenant that might be the heart of Mr. Morgan's question is the requirement that the single-family residential dwelling be owner-occupied. If an owner passes away, whoever inherits the property, if it's one or more people, one of those individuals would need to occupy the structure. If circumstances change and they would like to be released from that covenant, they can come back to you all or your successor in interest and make that request.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Now can we have a vote? Yes. Okay. Can we just do a majority vote?
You can do a voice vote, Madam Chair. A voice vote.
Voice vote, yes, thank you. So all in favor of initiating the sealed bid process for 821 West Street?
Upset bid.
Upset bid, read the wrong one. Upset bid process for 821 West Street. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, say no. So the motion carries, and we'll have a resolution to initiate the upset bid process for 821 West Street. The next one, which I was reading ahead, is to consider a resolution to initiate the sealed bid process for 911 Eubanks. And I believe we are at the place we have people interested and qualified to provide sealed bids, so we just want to start that sealed bid process once again.
That's correct.
For a 911 Eubanks. And I know everyone's very familiar with that, so you're welcome to ask a question, but otherwise I'd say, can I get a motion for that?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second to initiate the sealed bid process for 911 Eubanks. Any outstanding questions? Head shaking no. I'm going to do a voice vote for that, and we have a motion to have a resolution to initiate the sealed bid process for 911 Eubanks Street. All in favor say aye. Aye. And all opposed? And that motion carries. So we guess we are directing staff to initiate that sealed bid process.
It shall be done, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next up is the West A Street project update. And is that something you have prepared to give to us?
Really, we'll tie that into the staff report. How's that?
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
At last night's Board of Aldermen meeting, our resolution for the street closure of East Street went before the board. The board passed that, and so we can send that on to the surveyor, and we should have a recombined survey so that we can list West A Street on our sellable lots list and begin the process to move that along. So I look forward to working with the project team in the coming weeks. So that's West A Street. I did want to let the commission know also that it is July, so the fiscal year has just opened, and so all of our POs are new. All of our this is a new year, so we'll have to do all the fun things like look at our grant writer contract and all of those things in the coming days, in the coming months as well. And what that also means is next month is August, which means this commission will need to nominate and elect a new chair or the same chair, but it will be a new chair because Ms. Walker's term is over. Mrs. Walker, sorry. Madam Chair, as far as I'm concerned. Her term is over, and so we will need to elect a new chair. And so anyone who would like to make a nomination for chair or co-chair, please send those nominations to me so that I can vet them and we can present the ballot at the August meeting. It's also worth noting that in addition to Chair Walker, also Mr. Kip Paraguay will be, his last meeting will be August. Not tonight, sir. His last meeting will be August, and we look forward to the Board of Aldermen appointing 2 new commissioners to the commission, as these individuals have served very, very well for the last 7 years. So we thank you for your service in advance, and we look forward to our August meeting. The only other thing I have for the staff report tonight is an update on our text amendment, and rather than me babbling through that and confusing everyone, I'm going to allow our assistant city attorney to walk us through a minor adjustment in the text amendment that we sent to Planning and Zoning a couple of months ago.
Madam Chair, members of the Commission, good evening. As you recall, several months ago, you all considered recommending a change to the land use ordinance relating to the dimensional requirements within the Redevelopment Commission overlay. So specifically, in your overlay, there are reduced setbacks, lot minimum sizes, lot widths, etc., as it reads currently in the R6 zoning district. And what you all recommended to the Planning and Zoning Board was, hey, let's not limit those dimensional requirements to just R6. let's expand to any residential uses for any lots within the redevelopment commission boundary, thinking that allowing reduced setbacks would promote more development, especially of residential uses. In preparing the notices and things that are required to go to the next phases to enact that legislation, staff was able to determine that there are some additional overlays that overlay your overlay. And we want to make sure that there are no conflicts or inconsistencies when people try to apply the proposal that you all have sent to the Planning and Zoning Board. So specifically, and I'm going to try not to make this confusing, there are 3 additional overlays in the redevelopment area. You've got the Lawson Creek Conservation Overlay, the Broad Queen Street Corridor, and the Dry Borough Historic Overlay. And each one of those overlays have additional requirements and dimensional requirements, etc. So we want to make sure that if someone is trying to build a building that's going to be a residential use in the redevelopment area, they know which rules apply. So what staff, I think, is recommending to you today is a minor adjustment to the language that you all sent to the Planning and Zoning Board, just to clarify that if you're in a double overlay, then the most restrictive rules apply. So if you're in the Lawson Creek overlay, if you're in the Broad Queen Street overlay, if you're in the Dry Borough overlay, those rules apply. If you're not, and you're just in the redevelopment area, then you can avail yourself of the reduced dimensional setbacks for residential uses. That way, all of our rules in the land use ordinance can be read in concert together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I think what Mr. Huff is going to ask you to do, if that is the agreement and consensus of the board, to vote to allow Mr. Huff to bring that minor amendment to the Planning and Zoning Board. That way everybody in the process knows what the intentions are, and that final language can be presented to the Board of Aldermen. Yes, sir, Mr. Strickland.
Real quick, how often are those, I guess, older overlays reconsidered or re-examined as a part of the process? Because what may have made sense 50 years ago might not now.
Very good question. I know that there's lots of consideration now because we are preparing for a comprehensive update to the land use ordinance. So that's my most immediate answer. The last time anyone has taken a hard look at them before that, I can't say.
Okay. I'm just wondering if we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole now, just for the sake of making it easier whenever our overlays make more sense than the ones that are already in place.
I will tell you that I think the Dry Borough Association continues to meet in this very active group. And when these regulations were initially promulgated, they were very significant voices in making sure that that overlay and those standards were enacted. And I haven't heard anything from that association thereafter to suggest that they would like to see any changes.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Any other questions? So are we directing staff, do we need to vote on that, or just?
You can direct Mr. Huff to bring amended language to the Planning and Zoning Board to resolve any perceived inconsistencies between the other overlays and the Redevelopment Commission overlay.
And it did not sound like it changed the meaning of what we were trying to do. It just acknowledges the existing overlays.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So nodding heads gives
Everybody in agreement?
It gives me guidance as long as the majority heads are nodding. All right.
Okay.
Very good. I will take that to planning and zoning. Thank you, guys.
All right, excellent. Does that conclude your staff report?
That concludes my staff report, unless there are questions. I do want to just make known an announcement that the American Red Cross is doing a blood drive at the Stanley White Recreation Center on July 17th. It'll run all day long, so if you can show up to that, contribute to that. It's one of the city's biggest drives of the year. So I would love to see some redevelopment commissioners show up in redevelopment swag and show the city that we exist and we show up. So
I pass.
Oh, you passed.
Kind of hot to wear our jacket. Can we tie it around our waist?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
tie. Yeah, I forgot that all we got. Co-chair, all we got them was jackets. We have to get them some summertime wear.
Totally agree.
That concludes my staff report.
All right. Well, I believe we have our closed session. We have no business to take us into closed session tonight.
No, ma'am.
So our next item on the agenda is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and I don't think there's any discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.